clearly that Sierra Leoneans, then when we determine for do something, we can always do them.
Sure.
So that now one big thing and yes, I mean 2021, like 2020, and be very challenging year because of this global pandemic. Salone as a country, not to island, we depend on the other countries then, particularly when it comes to customs and also even investments in the country. So it'll be a challenging year actually. But again, like me intro, I say once Alionians and we determine for do something, we can always find a way. And that happened to we. So 2021, despite the fact say it be challenging, but when you read the target, you find out say the target not be the go down, now up will be the go. When we go to parliament, we appropriation be where Minister Care goal in 2020, now be 6.4. But when we donor partners then can we all should again with the Ministry of Finance and the partners and we look at the trend, we get what we call this ECF target of 6.6 trillion. But when we reach September again, the first half of the year, then one or 2 months added, we not say yes, that first half of the year we don't able to overperform by like then 171 billion. So we just take down the as given and we go to the last quarter target, when I be like then 640 something billion. So at the end of the day, the outcome, like I say, despite that, we still able to get the 6.8 trillion anyway. And the 6.8 trillion translates into 15.3% of GDP. And the good news is that this is the first time in the history of this country we would not ever get 15.3% of GDP. I can tell you, say, before NRA came into being in 2001, the GDP now be 9.6%. With revenue GDP. After 15 years, then from 2001 up to 2017, we only able to increase revenue GDP by 2.7%. Then from 9.6% to 12.3%. So when this administration comes, we meet at 12.3%. Now we don't able to move on from 12.3% within like 4 years to 15.3%. That's about 3 percentage points. So meaning waiting we're not able to do for 15 years, we're not able to surpass them within just 4 years from 2018 to 15. And the other beauty is that now it don't put we, just like how we say Leon Star now, don't make people that they know we about football. It don't put we now within the ECOWAS region and other sub countries then. With the low income countries and we'll get similar characteristics. We get now similar revenue GDP, So that now one good thing that the way I believe say we as Ghanaians are very proud of that yes, we've been able to do that.
All right, like you say, 2021 will be a challenging year for various sectors, them including on our own because of the global pandemic.
Yeah.
Now one of the year we'll see plenty businesses them they go through constraint, especially the business them where they import some of the goods them from different countries them for Cam Nasalonia. And now 1 year again, plenty business people and they complain about heavy tax where they say the National Revenue Authority they levy on them. With all them challenges there, so how una be able to meet some of una targets them una set for 2021?
Okay, so may I make a couple of things and correction? Yes, like I said, definitely 2021 will be a challenging year because of the pandemic. But, the government be very conscious about that. And I can always say the government do a lot to make sure they will lighten the burden on the people then. And even with this morning where they come out, they listen to the Radio 98, you find out Nigeria, other countries, and things are really tough because of the freight costs don't go up and everything. But within the government, and powers, it do them. And I can tell you, for example, like all essential commodities, then government decide for either reduce duty on them or remove them. For example, like things like flour, I can always say, we remove GST on that completely. We also introduce the system where business person come, instead of you pay all, able to get all the money, you understand, we defer some payment then.
But
for
okay,
lighting that.
if you say una reduce
Yeah.
or remove some of the GST and anything there, so how come this GST una they remove or reduce? No, they reflect on to the prices them na market for the final person where go be the final consumer where they go buy. Instead, then things there, so with all the taxes that we say una reduce or una pull some, the things of the prices then just they go up na market. Outside the problem there.
Okay, so like I'll say, salon, the problem is majority of the items where we they consume now with the importer. And where they import something, a vessel they come with them vessel then they. So we get different players and I will get what we call the exogenous factor. The factors and where the outside we own domain. For example, the vessel. The vessel, not to the government get the vessel. Now private entity, the shipping agencies then. Now, you're like if you want to go upline, you got to pay for the vehicle. Yeah, you load for put her inside that vehicle for go. Now, for enter with the goods, then for example, assuming now international trade now, for enter with the goods, and now let's say now Kabbalah, government say okay, you they pay based on what we call the cost, how much you buy and the insurance we pay for the goods and the freight. Now, which government get control over? Now the one for say okay, if they enter now, you got for give me that money there. But which government not get control over? Now for say the vessel, the freight, the container cost, because not we the produce and container. Yeah. So we notice say in 2021, the freight cost, the container cost increased so much to the extent that containers then weigh like then 20-foot container when I be like 2,000, then go as high as 8 to 10. And also even the like 40-feet container will be the pay length 4, 5, 6, it go as high as 18. So that will be a major factor than because we know the produce. You understand? But government in your side, let us take like fuel. I can challenge anybody that Sierra Leone as a non-oil producing country, we get the cheapest fuel, less than $1. How did they happen? Not because of the effort of government. From July, say go down to November, you find out say, but the areas and where government be get money, like that fuel tax, the IDF, the excise, we remove her. Just because we government very conscious say the need for look at the essential commodities. The same thing with cement, etc. We do all that day, but certain factors and they where they outside. If the price of items overseas don't go up, and you get for import from overseas, then they above government. But government can sacrifice on behalf of a nation for say, instead of when I give me this, we're not part of it. And even when we talk about like say the custom, I can tell you say that based on the custom, what is a cost, insurance and freight, if we take the freight cost, I wonder if anybody for able clear container na Wataki, because the rate at which the freight with the jump and became very unpredictable.
So you think the governments don't do enough from Unayon part in terms of lighting the burden, where you say government is there for lighting the burden on citizens then? Because earlier you explained say Una can boast say the GDP don't go over 15% now, where according to you, now inside this period of 4 years of President Bio in leadership, Una not able for shoot them up that way. But governments don't do enough for really in as much as Una they glad for the GDP where they go, but let the citizens them not get the burden.
Clearly, I will talk down it because waiting for don't be assuming if government not be sensitive about anything. What would they talk about? For don't be. Now, one thing back where I can say, despite the fact that yes, prices then they go up, but waiting we also achieve as a government is that they go in a store, see the goods there. The availability there. And now also now because of the government program there, because we be proactive, the government was very proactive for doing that. We know of states then or countries and we are in, you go to places, the countries and go to the chef, it empty. And imagine that if you go to a chef, it empty, waiting at the cost where people then get forget. We got countries and big countries and where inflation go as high as 22%. Yet we now we still talk about 10%. Now because of them measures and they again, like I say, waiting there within the powers of government. If government do, I can say yes. And in the case of taxation, particularly, almost essential commodities. I don't can and talk. I say the contribution of revenue from essential commodities, it don't reduce as low as 2%. Essential commodities, when of course like rest. If not tax, we rest. Rest no get GST, it no get import duty. And this government make sure say when you sell money out for buying rest, first time, what thing will they do? Will they put GST on the charges, on the fee? Because when they send money out, they pay charges. Will they charge GST on that? And that will give you up to 32 billion. Government sacrifice down the all to zero.
So then sacrifice here where governments make, but you still say una able for hits, una targets. Now other areas them una put the burden and cushion some of them for let una able hit una targets.
So we get what we call essential items, whether they are possible, for example, the food. You got to make sure say people then eat. But in naturally, certain commodities and we call them non-essential commodities. For example, if you get for account with used clothing inside the country, then we not go begin reduce duty on that. We not increase no duty. Now that I can say we maintain it. But what we do was that we also ensure say we broaden the tax base. We get a lot of people then, a lot of sectors then will not be the pay. You know, say this government we talk about diversification. You know, because before the end time there, so what would they talk about? So let's say the country be really highly dependent on just minerals, you know, mines. But within this period, we find out say the mining sector really the struggle. But still, because we broaden we base, we able to enter, bring more people than at the net. We deploy a lot of systems. We reduce then leakages and we be in the system massively. That help we a lot for pay for then reductions and the way government do.
Dr. Jibao, I take you back to the previous question I asked you, where you make mention of the taxation they owner reduce. Like, for example, the rest. You say government pull all the taxes them. The importer them not they pay no tax for rest. But rest now one of the thing them where the price them they go up every day. And NRA now they say they don't pull all the tax them for the importer the way they bring rest. Something no look they add up. Also you think say the problem they now from the importer they bring the rest or now somebody who can normally call the middleman. Now they the problem they.
Well, I can say now about one, I'm not gonna blame the importers and almost squarely. I don't tell you say we know they produce their items in there. If now the international market the cost don't go up and the vessel cost don't go up, the container don't go up, and they will say like rest and cement. I did tell you, even forget vessel for Canada this country. People now will tell you say now be West Africa not only alone, now be a challenging time. People like in the most vessels and prefer for going at the Middle East. Sometimes when are like then 3-4 days they don't reach. So that are also another constraint on them. But also for the business people, then we continue to engage them. Because if government, they make them kind of sacrifices, then at least they get for look at the markup for make sure, say, you know, normal times you can say, okay, me I get that huge markup, but these are challenging moments. You understand? And so we engage them. Then we always, the Minister of Trade can always engage them. The Minister of Finance, Minister don't attend a lot of meetings, you know. Then you support them through the bank for even get Forex, all of them in there. So, yeah, so in a way for the business people and say, we'll continue to engage them, for let them understand, say, during then trying times, everybody got to make sacrifice. Government don't make your own sacrifice. It don't talk, say, what are supposed to forget for run the state because of, you know, hard government is okay. For now, we are not paid Andy.
Government they make them sacrifices there, so according to you,
yeah.
Now for a purpose, for lessen the burden, especially the hardship where people in the crisis, it in the country. But if government they pull all them tax there, so and they lost couple, but the reason we make then they pull the tax them, it may reflect on the ordinary citizen them. It don't reach to a point where NRA they think say this decision maybe we need for revisit them.
So you get for, you know, economists when they talk about the counterfactual. So the counterfactual is what if government, like what they say, we decide for add the tax. Now, plus the external factors and where I don't show. Now, you add the tax, let's say pan rest. And by the way, that rest day, so we're talking about like 400 billion a year. We go get down there. But also remember which will be the price if they add to all them factors in it. So now it make we believe, say, as a government, what this government don't do, it encourage domestic production. Because that's the only way. Because as long as it above external factors, if somebody now they give you money for running your house, if that person is a get problem, you get forget problem. But if like where President, His Excellency the President, they talk about agriculture, domestic production, the Minister of Trade they talk about let we get industries then, let we get the factories then where they produce things like the iron rod, then cement, etc. We know they have so one element we don't eliminate now the freight.
All right.
You understand? So that's the major thing that is. So I think so we as Sierra Leoneans then let we take on we own domestic production, and both for the agriculture and also in the context of the industries. But if we say no more with the Abo, now Chinese market for go produce rest, then we go buy from there. If China shut down, like way they don't shut down for long, so no problem.
All right. Continue for the week to the program. In name na Dr. Samuel Jibao, in the Commissioner General, na the National Revenue Authority. If you get question for him, send them to 077-981-981. Or if you watch on our Facebook page, you can also drop your question at the comment section. Dr. Jibao will try for answer to some of our questions then.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. We come back to the Commissioner General na NRA, where now Dr. Samuel Jiba, there this morning. They tell we waiting NRA been do inside 2021. And later in the program, we got for tell we them plan them for 2022. And they come back to the issue we get for do with NRA. You say inside 2021, able for hit on a target on been get way now over 6 trillion. And struggles day, as you said, we don't state earlier, as to everybody they feel the shock of the coronavirus, and even the business people them where NRA been supposed for they get their money from. We see at a point when I begin lock some places them because they're not be able for pay the tax. So share with listeners them now whose area them wanna be able for generate the money we pass 6 trillion we wanna able for generate. Share the magic with listeners.
Okay, so again, within this period we deploy a lot of systems. I'm sure when most shop that we enter, they see we cash machine. And that's what will happen. And of course, we know they say we don't stabilize the system them purely because we still get challenges when it comes to for let people then use them. But if I compare to how the manual system is better than the cash machine for the GST. And I got to talk more on that and actually talk to people then waiting for happen this 2022. Now we deploy the cash machine, then the ECR machine for collect GST. Then one area that the way we do, we succeed. We also deploy the integrated tax administration system. I remember when Akanaya, for the past 2-3 years, I've been on the talk about them. I want to say now, we don't go live on that, and we don't get over 8,000 taxpayers, and now we use that integrated tax system. What that system they do is that you can able file online. And once you file online, now the system now they get for generates or calculates your tax liability, and it give you what we call payment instruction. And if you get your bank, say if we get online system, you can then at that same premise you pay. But if you not get down there, then you get for going to bank, you go pay, and now I'm on the credits. The reason why we deploy all them systems then is that one, apart from for generate revenue, NRA will get the obligation for make sure say we reduce the cost of complying with the tax laws. And in addition to that, we get for ensure a fair system there. Person we're supposed to pay. So now the reason that may go with deploy them systems and they. But one thing I want also we a unique way I can always talk to me colleagues and commissioner generals and when they ask like what in really Sierra Leone what they do. We look different because they will say we self get some of them systems and but then they're very challenging. You know, one thing, Sierra Leone, we bless, we get luck because no tax administration will succeed if you not get a very strong political will. From where we come in 2018, where His Excellency the President organized our economic management team every week it will follow up on development, waiting to go on with the brainstorm. So that now one. So now one unique thing where I see where the previous regimes and nobody do, where make revenue GDP be very low. Because you can forget that kind of strong commitment in generating revenue. Now you make, I tell you, even when at that time they will get shocked when they say now the fastest growing economy now this the country here. Revenue GDP still now be 11.4, 11 point. In fact, it go down from 11%, it go down to 10.8%. That way we get that iron ore shock. When iron ore not be done at this country, again it takes a very strong. And you get for ensure so you get a system the way they minimize leakages.
Because that's our system here where you say when I introduce we make able for generate some money. They how NRA they monitor the system then because we don't see systems in place before, but still people are able for beat them system then they and do it in they want for do.
Okay, so two ways. One, we get the laws now. And now that's also I want to talk about. Then two, we don't do a lot of engagement. Are we there? We don't stabilize the systems then? The answer is no. For example, iTax, I tell you saying about 8,000 taxpayers then. So far don't begin use them. We know say we get more than that. You understand? And certainly, I'll talk with the JVs then. Certainly, so we start system, you can get one or two hiccups. Let us say like the banks. We start first now, just the payment month, we now just 3 banks per day. We connect to we. But by November, December now, we don't get over 10 banks we don't connect with we.
All right. Continue for the within the program. Dr. Sameji Bao, Commissioner General and National Revenue Authority. They tell everybody different stage them where them being reached for get that revenue for government we later then be reached to 6.8 trillion according to them performance inside September last year. We'll come back to you, Doc. But on the line now, we get Yusuf Keketoma Sandi in the press sector in a State House. As people remember yesterday, press release them we come out State House show say His Excellency the President be make some change them now in cabinet. Also, it been changed some certain ministers they'll be don't serve under administration and bring in new players them. Well, waiting inform this decision. Yusuf Keketoma Sandi de with we na the line. Good morning, Mr. Sandi, and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon. See press release that will come out from the office of the president. Also, it be make some changes them na in cabinet, bringing new people them and some other people and be old people just change some of the position them where them be they serve. Firstly, start for tell listeners them waiting be informed that decision day from the president for make them change there so at this point of a administration.
Well, I think firstly, we all know say by the Constitution of Sierra Leone, section 56, subsection 4, it tells you say subject to the provisions of section 53 of this Constitution, the ministers and deputy ministers shall hold office at the president's discretion. We give you the legal basis upon which the president can appoint and then relieve person from office. But the most important thing is that we all know say when the president be do some reshuffles before now, there were one of few vacancies will be there in place. Certain deputy positions then be vacant when president want fill. And also, secondly, you also want to get more competent people in my government and try to reassign people back to other parts of government. And I think, say, because of this, I make president to largely the deputy ministers reassign some, and we I think, say, make we get a very good list and good team and get people back who don't join me. So, if you don't mind, I will just go through them quickly. The one the way president announced yesterday. So, number one, we get Mr. Sheku Fantamani Bangoa. We na the deputy minister 2 na finance. Now we don't go deputy minister 1 na Ministry of Finance. We also get Mr. Bokari Kaloko. Mr. Bokari Kaloko na the former MD na Salon Commercial Bank. They don't take over 19 years in the banking sector. Now they go na Ministry of Finance as deputy minister 2. We also get Honorable Alpha Kanu. Honorable Alpha Kanu na the former flag bearer aspirant under the APC. He also served as minister under APC. Now, presidents don't appoint them as resident minister cabinet rank. We may say again for the attend cabinet as the resident minister of Northwestern Province. Now, specifically on this one, we all know say every time in this country, people say we get challenges in terms of in terms of how for national cohesion, for peace. But we think say, and the president strongly believes say this appointment go further consolidate we country in terms of inclusive governance. We go show you say it don't necessarily mean say president get for appoint everybody will vote for 2018. But then if you look and see say this person is a different party, but this person can able to add value to this government and this person can able to serve and they love this country, believe in president's vision, presidents can appoint them. From there we also get Honorable General retired Kesboya, where presidents don't appoint as Minister of State, Resident Minister for Eastern Province. We get Aja Aisata Abdullah Kamara. You remember say Aja also like Kram 2018, he be part of ADP president also because he see that Umawe very dynamic, very progressive. President appoint her back first as the resident minister Northwest. Now he don't come as deputy minister, the Ministry of Trade and Industry. We also get Reverend Abraham James Cisse Jones, who will be deputy minister in trade. Now president don't reassign him for make he go as deputy minister, Ministry of Land, Housing and Country Planning. We also get Mrs. Princess Duba. Mrs. Princess Duba, na healthcare professional, we serve in the UK. Now, presidents now also are using expertise and experience for make he serve as deputy minister, Ministry of Health and Sanitation. We commodate, we get Mrs. Mamusu Masakoy. This Mamusu Masakoy gets enormous experience in the education sector. In fact, he served before now as Director of Nutrition and Health at the School Feeding Secretariat at the Ministry. Now, presidents want to make good support and add as Deputy Minister to the Ministry of Basic Education. We also get Dr. Anthony A. Sandi, who will be Deputy Minister 1. Now, President will appoint him as Chairman Health Service Commission. Dr. Sandi Sef will get enormous experience in the public sector, in the public health sector for over 15 years. We don't serve across this country, in the health sector. We get Mr. Andrew Fatoma, who will be the Resident Minister Eastern Province. Now, President will reassign him as Chairman, Board of Directors at the Road Maintenance. We also get Dr. Amara Jambai, who will be Deputy Minister too. President will reassign him as Chairman for leading the NACOVAC fight and the response of the country. We get Reverend Smart Tennessee, who will be the Chairman of the Board of Directors Road Maintenance. Now, President will reassign him as Executive Director, the Leon Road Safety Authority. We get Mr. Yusufu Abdul Sila, who will be the head of the HFC, the mortgage bank, where President will reassign him. He's again enormous experience at the banking sector, a young man, very dynamic. President also appointed now as Managing Director, Sierra Leone Commercial Bank. And lastly, we get Mr. Sadiq Sila, who now be former Deputy Minister of Transport and Aviation. President will relieve him. President will call him back as Ambassador of Sierra Leone to Egypt. So in all, they tell you say, when President they do the appointment there, they look for two things. One, the competence of the people we get for serve, but also over and beyond that, people we believe in the development of this country, in President's strategic vision, regardless of whichever political party they.
All right, Mr. Sandi, let me talk about two panel appointments there, so we just don't throw light on. One gets for do with Honorable Alpha Kanu in appointment, where according to plenty people where they released their comment yesterday, it not come as a surprise because of a relationship lately where it don't get with President BOA administration. But appointing Honorable Alpha Kanu at this point for be resident minister for Northwest and replace him with Honorable Aisata where be don't serve they from where una been come as a government. Many people see and like say now a strategic move by His Excellency the President, considering how people don't point finger to that particular region, say not to President Bio in party in stronghold that one day.
Well, Dija, like where presidents can do anything, people like to get boku opinion. But I think waiting make the president do this appointment, like I say, because he believes in inclusive governance. He believes say yes, 2018 elections where will be there are people them way not be votes for them. But now in a president, he want to put the country together. He want people believe in national cohesion. So therefore, every appointment where they make, as long as you believe in this president in vision we get, as long as you believe in development, as long as you believe that this president will move this country forward, he will appoint you. Whether you the APC, you the ADP, as in the case of who we get Aja, or any other political party, as long as you believe in this country, in development, and believe the president will move forward, he will appoint you. But over and beyond as well, it's also about the person experience. We know say Honorable Afakanu gets enormous experience. Put local person is coming in Northwestern region. So therefore, he will use that experience for continue for Kego development in Northwestern region, but also for unite that part of the country there. Because we believe say this is a person we don't get experience in governance under the previous government. But also show one thing. He show one thing say this president, this government, not be the ever which on anybody will serve in the former government. Because we believe say this is now one country, and we believe say people are waiting in this country, we want to develop this country, we want to move forward. President will always embrace them. Now this is the
another appointment again, Mr. Sandi. Now the one we get for do with replacing Ali Kaba with Mr. Sadiq Sila for go na Egypt. The last cabinet reshuffle again we come out. Suicide His Excellency the President be appoint Ali Kaba for be the ambassador to Egypt. But from that same day, we don't see Usai Ali Kaba come openly and say he don't take up the appointment and go na in country of post. What happened with that particular appointment? Is it that Ali Kaba officially meets the president and say, you know, wants the appointment, or it just please His Excellency for replace him with Sadiq Sila?
Well, it just please His Excellency the President for replace Dr. Ali Kaba, and also for his opportunity for tell him plenty thank you for the service we don't do to this country, and as somebody we done in public service for a very long time. Who come, he initially served as the Minister for Foreign Affairs. He also go to UN where he do enormous job, and then now he go to Egypt where he also do work then day. But we think say anybody who don't serve in the public service, even if not one day, because it's an enormous task. We want for before obviously the president will leave. We want for tell the person president thank you. So Ali Kabana no exception. We want for commander for his service we don't give over the years, and we believe say he make young contributions towards with governance. But at this time, president in view, he believes say we got forget different strategic leadership in Egypt for make we continue for strengthening we bond between Saudi and Egypt. Now make it don't care go Sadiq Sila. We also na person back we don't get enormous experience on public service for make it go continue the work and strengthen that bond day. But just another one where I be just one talk on Alpha Khan. You know, if you're a lover of football and DJ, you watch Premier League, now then kind of thing they will say if you play for Norwich City or Newcastle, they do well in the football league, and then Man City say they want to get you over for make you play for the team. I mean, you know, so this is the winning team. So you
all
want
right,
to the winning
thank
team.
you very much, Yusuf Keketoma Sandi. In the press sector in a State House, he be the give updates on the various appointments them way please His Excellency for make yesterday. Also bringing new people in cabinet and been changed some position them and replaced with other people in the program.
Good Morning Salon, they continue. We come back to the Commissioner General na the National Revenue Authority, Dr. Samuel Jibao, as we continue for look at waiting NRA been do inside 2021 and self waiting they do inside this 2022. Now, Dr. Jibao, let's look at the issues with get for do with reconciling the revenue them way una can don't generate, because after we can get information from NRA, for example, say una can don't hit on a target because una the major source of revenue for government. At the end of the day, if you look at what it can come out now the Auditor General report, for example, it can look like una then at the same page. How NRA can do in terms of reconciling waiting una can don't generate for generally for government account?
Yeah, so the reconciliation will be one issue that the way from who come with this guy for really put. And in fact, one of the main reasons why we deploy them systems because once you get the manual environments, you find out you get any kind challenges and with reconciliation. Three sides of reconciliation, we they look at waiting at the liability and waiting the person they pay, and we don't pay at the commercial bank. You understand? And now we call on sub-treasury account. It's supposed for clear going at the Bank of Sierra Leone. So the figures then where at the give, in fact, I can tell you, say right now we reconciliation they go on now between the Bank of Sierra Leone, the Accountant General, and the NRA. So the one where we do reports on daily basis, every day, by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock latest, Bank of Sierra Leone they will send to me all the amounts of money then by revenue streams that we don't collect. But at the end of the day, we go for, again, we finance department, like I say, the accountant general, etc. We go for look at them again for make sure say we get a farm figure. So tentatively based on the Bank of Sierra Leone figure, now this, and we know they normally get, because certain payment and they go directly in the Bank of Sierra Leone, where sometimes we know they capture that day. So, but after the reconciliation, by then, hopefully by then January or what, then we will really get a very firm figure. But tentatively, that figure will get done at 6.8.
Talking about figures, Dr. Jibao, I remember the 10 day we just take up NRA as the Commissioner General. We wanna be the get a revenue. Would people be the see NRA be the publish the different figures them where wanna be the able gather for as a way of transparency sake. But all of a sudden that pattern they just die down. Waiting to be the issue. Una not be able to get a better figure again. Una say the public for north.
Well, you see, even in development, certain things and they become now like sort of a fact. I can say, where would they go on board? Me board chart can already say, revenue not to news any longer. The news items now really in a deployment of systems and how we ensure say we make with systems that are more transparent and friendly. I think that's now the news item. So we look at and say revenue not too much of news now that we collect. You understand? People that don't read and so I think what we want redirect me efforts now into actually ensuring say their systems here we nine of these the life of the organization. People that understand them and people that really know say it will get for benefits them and also benefit the country. So that make we stop for the key on daily or monthly basis. Because when we can newly, then 4 billion, 6 billion, then you go begin to pull 20 billion, you get excited. But now 20 billion, if I put 20 billion now, I know say, with this, December was like 35 point, on average was about 35.7 billion.
2021.
So, yeah, so not to be news item.
Dr. Jibao, 2021 a year where the public see based on the updates them we don't carry they give them. The public see say NRA invest a lot in systems for Lona put together a proper system who will work for them because NRA, especially the customs department, now one way plenty finger be done the point at the corruption they happen there. And you see the systems the way NRA say them put together, bringing new electronic systems them into our work and are able for centralize the system of NRA. But again, we see inside the audit report talk about so many discrepancies among our work, especially the one that they reconcile from different tax the one that they collect. They all get for the timber and other thing them. So if we invest a lot of money into putting systems and procedures in place, then the audit reports kind of expose NRA say better system now the day. How this investment as a commissioner general, you think say it be worthy for Lona puts then kind of money then they into systems and procedures?
Well, I don't feel say audit report say better system, not the NRA. I'm sure when you read the audit report, then really, but what NRA say we don't do a lot of systems. And I can always say it's always a process. And the stability of them systems then, like I say, is a process. But also, I can continue for say this. The one back where they do the audits, they are not as perfect as they think. Now you make us say, this year really, I don't want to make comments more on audit reports. Let we follow the due process.
You don't need
to understand them. Yeah, the due process where should say where the audit reports come, ACC get right for go in there for investigate, we get PAC, we go there. Because really, if I look at that audit report, a whole lot of things in the way I believe say they get it wrong. That I can tell you. But when we get there, we will see. I can tell you, for example, just one example for just example's sake. Let us say like the duty waiver. Yeah, then we go to about 4 point something billion. And when you look at the duty waiver, without them they say we don't give duty waiver the way they're not supposed to forget. Now embassies, because they say they're not publish their names. Embassies, we talk about World Bank, we talk about UN agencies. You say they're not publish their names and they're not gazetted. And these are embassies, everybody knows the Vienna Convention, Section 34 clearly shows that you know even need for go and but a whole lot of things like I said, let we follow the due process. When time comes for explain, we will explain that. By the way, I know say people can say, oh, ACC don't call and NRA for go talk about procurement. I want for make and categorically that procurement when they talk about now 2017. So I just wonder why even find itself now 2020 audit. But again, these are some of the things.
They can carry forward some of them.
Well, I mean, no, saying that, but I just want to make that clarification that in 2017, whether event will take place, now make the person with the good day, with ACC invite now the acting procurement person in 2017, not under this administration at all. Now that clarification of what I want to make, and I will really appeal, I will go back to my programs.
So looking back at the issue we get for do with reconciliation, you said we don't say when I don't they struggle with since una take up office, but waiting at the bottleneck we make. But 4 years now, una still struggle with the issue of reconciliation because if NRA they glad to say we they raise this kind of money, but government don't really realize them at the end of the day. Waiting at the bottleneck.
No, so let me say like one area. For example, where I say where would they deploy the systems in? You know, we come almost NRA system I can describe at any time the days almost like manual system. So now a process like 2021 now, you define now say for example like the duty waiver. The duty waiver now we don't automate her. Clearly, as you enter the system now, you see clearly. So that argument for say, oh, we not see this, you see clearly. And one beauty about systems is that you know they delete anything. The way it deletes, they trace the day. You understand? So it will make things very easy for all of us. Once within a manual system, and now we thank God we are almost 80 or more percent automated now at the NRA. So now a process, we'll get there eventually because when they deal with huge document, this one get to you, this one get to you. But now, as the deployment system, then everybody is here. This single window, for example, for exempt organization, and they tell you first time where you want, for example, clear goods and awataki. Yeah, if the education is there, you get for to pay transport, you go now Ministry of Education with all you document them. Then the minister recommend you to turn back. You come with an Ministry of Finance. Then the Minister of Finance approve. Then you take another transport. You go now NRA to Commissioner General in office. He approve he endorse them. Then he go down. But now whether you in an office, you know in an office, as long as you get internet. The minister no need for the office. If you go now, minister in place doing the time, then up to 2020, you the finance. If the minister not there, you get for wait. But now, whether minister they na in host, you know they na in host, you know they na in dex, then they na. So you they see and clearly now, and I they know say minister don't approve. I they know which side they, and even the business people will know exactly which side them paper. They because you don't know your office. So these are the level of transparency where we try for do that. But
we will come back to you, Dr. Samuel Jibaro. We take the program Good Morning Salon. They continue. We'll come back to Dr. Samuel Jibaro from the National Revenue Authority. We did in 2022. Now waiting on a projection in terms of revenue generation for this year.
Okay, thank you very much. And before I state Sandy, let me know say not only revenue and systems, then even the infrastructure-wise, we do a lot. We commission the cargo, and then they're very critical because like custom first time, you do nearly 2 or 3 miles, but now we're able to commission the cargo facility. So when I want building now with the house, we custom stuff there. And the hopefully we will start with building projects soon when the construction of the revenue house, the procurement they're on now. We are very hopeful that we'll get on the. So I want to thank the board and for at least also supporting us and the Ministry of Finance. Now, so coming to 2022, yes, we target now 7.64 trillion. Now we're supposed for collecting 2022. So in terms of that represents an increase of 1.227 trillion above 2021.
So what's extra on our do for raise the 1.22 trillion.
Yeah, so what's extra we got for do one, we got for continue still for consolidate for and stabilizing systems here. Because, tax administration get for deal with information. Once we get in, why would they automate the systems or we process them? Because it will able to give we correct information about all the taxable activities so we get for continue with that. And we go continue with the tax education. We will continue for engage the taxpayers then, because we target really enough for ensure say the one that will not come on board yet, then they come. But with the systems then, the monitoring of them systems and they're very important. And I want for encourage and again warn, particularly like the one that we get the machine or we not get the machine yet. Now for no say that cash machine, you know GST registered person, you not get a cash machine now offense. Because clearly now illegal business. And at this point, they talk to all business people them that when you buy Naden shops and or any of them medium and big shop,
because
make sure you ask.
Who's kind shop for getting machine?
Yes, so for now, until the finance bill 2022, when you get presidential assent, then the turnover, the threshold don't reduce now, the turnover don't reduce to 100 million. So meaning medium and big businesses now supposed for pay get that machine day. But what we can normally do, for the one then way we don't install the machine, we put signboard and they for no say that person not get her. But now responsibility on you, once you know say you turn over now 100 million, particularly for 2020 now, once the finance bill don't go through, you're supposed to go for the machine. If you don't go for the machine, then an offense. For now, government, if magnanimous enough, they don't provide machine free, they buy them. But when this machine then they done, all what would they do? We just they certify somebody through procurement, they award the contract, and a supplier. Then we go only certify, meaning you will pay for the machine now. So once this 5,000 done, then the next set of machines then you go for pay for them. So that day we go for no that day. So you better you come for an no work again.
So what about business places? Them will get a machine, but not they give people them the receipts where they supposed to get them after when they can buy certain amount.
That's an offense. That's an offense for if you don't use the machine, an offense. And anybody where you go now, then shop, then they not give you the receipts. They are if you contact NRA 839, we get a call center. You they get that day.
How often on a tax officer them? They monitor some of them places there.
Yes,
so
and they monitor. Waiting at the thing, we talk about like 5,000 machine will go for deploy. The NRA staff, we bokute, but we have about 700 to 800. So again, I make with the user media on them for encourage every Sierra Leonean, let you get that kind of love for the state. If you don't go buy, because if you buy, they not give you the cash machine and not to handwritten machine, the receipt for come out from the machine and you forget NRA panel. Now, if you buy, then they charge GST. You pay that GST, they not give you that receipt. That will show say your money not reach, and then they a crime. And if you give that receipt to we will find that person the 10 million if not the first offender. If he come again, we continuously do that. Now 20 million. I'm sure this December you will see NRA staff them to go for enforce that day. If we find you not pay with the lucky shop. Because now illegal business. I don't even engage the exempt organizations like the UN, the embassies. Because in other countries, normally they get GST exempt shop there. But we don't get that day. That's can go at the same market. I don't tell them, normally we own system is where you pay, if you're not supposed to pay the GST, we they give you back the money. But if you buy from somebody who not get the machine and issue a receipt to you, we not to system generated receipt, we'll not be able to refund that day. The same thing with general business person. If you're in trade or you're in production, how GST they work. When you buy, for example, you got material, you pay GST on that material day. Yeah, then you manufacture, you sell your goods, then you charge GST. So what they come to NRA? Now, the one where you charge minus the one where you pay. So if now even buy or sell, if I go buy to you, Khadija, and you charge me GST 10,000, then I can't add me markup. I charge GST, let's say you go to 15,000. Government only they get 5,000 because you got for me that 10,000 way you collect from me. Now you subtract from what you charge. But if you go buy to somebody who not get the machine, automatically now you pay order 15,000. You know, just cite simple example like supermarkets. I know of some supermarket then, normally they buy from their buyer. When somebody come with barrier, they're not the import directly. But if you go buy from somebody who get barrier and you not register business now, you not get the machine, you not give you the GST receipt from that machine there. Whatever you they sell at the supermarket, the entire GST now you they pay. Because I make we say GST is self-policing. So I they encourage you when they do that kind of business, not buy from somebody who not get the machine. Because at the end of the day, they end up for pay all then tax then day. So that's one critical thing. And you will get the machine, you know the issue receipt. Must know say from the back end with the year. In November, December, we began for nearly 100 businesses. Because if the machine dormant for long, I will not say you know the user. And you get for explain. And most of the excuses are whenever they give, oh, we get the machine, but we not get better training, will they offer the training? You just can't. But the problem is because of that small resist fear factor, despite the fact that we don't really engage people then. You understand? And this belief say, oh, let's see us along with some take no more. Now within 1 or 2 days, it don't do. Then machine here, then systems here, they have for stay. And no, you know, so I did one program when I had say somebody text say then they connive some business and they connive with we staff them. Right. Then in a high risk because any staff will do that day, I tell you say the board don't give the support and the board support we that we go get rid of the system, you know the system and we go hand you over to ACC. Because then they na corruption that day.
Earlier we talk about the energy and the finance owner for 2021 systems and procedures. Before you left we now 2022, what will be our main focus?
Yeah, so we main focus 2022. The number one priority in our rental income tax. Okay. The rental income tax now another great area that they will not able to make a breakthrough yet. So in fact, even yesterday we will get to a meeting. One area I come out with them and thank God and I appreciate the board. They don't give me that support there. Now we will get now specific units now, the STOs, we go for breakdown. We get the small taxpayer and the medium taxpayer. So that the medium taxpayers then really go focus on that rent. Rental income tax, therefore, be focused for this year. We don't do a lot of survey, we don't do the first part. We will do that BMS, they don't go do, we know the amount of rented property they have, for example, in Freetown. We know the amount of commercial properties and when are rented property. This year, and you where the rent, you know, landlord, where you know they give rental agreement, tenancy agreement, you stand for lose because you get for pay more. You get for me pay more. But if you get tenancy agreement with somebody, you know we get certain threshold. The government is reasonable. We meet a very low threshold. Now we don't increase the threshold, non-taxable threshold to 7,200,000. And if you get a tenancy agreement, meaning will they make provision for you again 10%? Will they take them off? We use them for, we call them for maintenance. You understand? But if you don't get that, obviously we're not going to know if somebody they do any maintenance or not. Because inside the tenancy agreement, we clearly show within your responsibility, within the landlord in responsibility. And yourself as the tenant, make sure say your landlord pay. Okay. Yeah, so that we all together go get this beautiful country where His Excellency the President wants to all get in this country. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel Jibao. We join in the program. Can talk about our work inside last year and self-explain about our plans and programs them on and implement for this year 2022. Hope say as the year they roll, we will continue for get you. They can give update to listener them how them plans there don't they go.
Yes, thank you very much, and then I will continue for come. Right. Yeah, but I'm not going to say I'm going to post revenue because revenue not to see. I will tell you now more about the system. Right. But before I go, I just want to thank my supervisor, the Minister of Finance, because without the Minister of Finance, definitely it's going to be difficult for we. And of course, my board, I get a very professional board. And the entire staff, the staff. Oh no, not true. We say do them because a teamwork. You see this teamwork, then the difference back. the team work with the board, the team work with the senior management, the Minister of Finance, and the entire staff.
All right.
So they are level we hope for a better. And again, congratulations to Leon Star with the wait for the complex way His Excellency talk.
Okay, many thanks to you. Well, now this edition of the program, Good Morning Salon Go Left. For now, we say for say plenty thank you to we team Naya, Na Radio Democracy, Team Radio D. Many thanks to the producers them, Alex Lawrence Kuruma and Michael Sambola. DJ Ahmad give technical support. Usman Kamara make on see you on Facebook. So till we meet again, Mabel Kabade say goodbye.
And Mina Khadija Bangura, they wish you all a blessed day.